All right, so today we're looking at AI generated Bionicle masks, and this is not something I thought I was going to be doing. Let's just get into it, I guess. So yeah, gonna start. I will leave a link for these in the description so you can check them all out for yourself as well. I found these on Reddit. I've known that AI masks have existed for a long time. I've never really cared to look around at them too much, but there are some interesting things out there. And of course, as always, I love to see what other people are able to parse out. So there are 20 masks here we're going to take a look at, starting with this one, and I like this one. There are aspects of it I think definitely need changed, and there's absolutely a RAW aesthetic here. So I don't feel like it's its own unique mask, but maybe like a regional take on the RAW. This one's a pretty good one. I like it. I would, like I said, change a couple of things, especially with those sort of glare above the eyebrows, maybe like indenting those or something, just so that there's some definition to them. Obviously, the AI couldn't decide what this was going to be. So yeah, let's move on to the next. All right, no, let's go back. So this one, here's the thing. This one obviously reminds me of the Alnuva, mostly because I spent like an hour and a half looking at it the other day, which I actually really like that mask. The mask has grown on me over time. This one, are there aspects of this that are salvageable? Sure. What would I fix? Okay, so I think lowering the eyes for one thing is pretty obvious. Maybe flaring out the cheeks and bringing those cheek bones down, throwing the whole thing away and just starting over. Those are all really good points. Let's move on. The color doesn't help it there either. This one's interesting. So, red, I don't know how the AI chooses its colors, but it looks decent. There are interesting things going on here. I don't personally care for these really highly geometric masks like this per se, but I think this is at least somewhat tasteful. Not perfect by any means. For one thing, those little cheek flaps would make posing this a nightmare. I don't even know where its eyes are. It doesn't know where its eyes are. It doesn't even have a consciousness to know it exists. But one thing that I'm seeing that's like striking me right away is this almost skull-like motif going on in this area here. So I think if you played into that a little bit, it's got kind of some Punisher kind of shapes to it. Obviously, you don't have the full head wrapping around, but you get the point, right? If you played into that, I think you have something here that's worth messing around with. And, maybe lowering the nose hole or something. I think we've evolved too far and we need to turn around. Very clearly taking... hold on. I'm looking at this here. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Borak windscreen. It probably helps that it's that color too, right? So it jumps out at me immediately. But there's a cutaway on that back side. It's a very similar shape to this as well. I was just using this the other day, so it's right there on the top of my mind. And obviously it has some Huna vibes, maybe even a little bit of Ruru vibe as well, with kind of the shaping of the jaw and stuff. It's a weird one. Salvageable, sure. It's a fairly basic mask, but I don't hate it. I wouldn't use it as is. I would definitely take this one back to the drawing board, literally. Okay. This one is okay. First of all, I can see that cheek area is kind of squared off a little bit like the Sandnoke, I believe, Huki Inika's mask. I hope I got that right. And it looks a little bit like Tahunuva's mask. Again, it's got that kind of melted thing. But what it reminds me of most, you see these little kind of like ribs sticking out. It almost reminds me of having these fins that stick out of the side, very similar to the Hero Factory Brain Attack set, the Aquagon set, that one, which I was also just looking at a couple of days ago. So that reminds me of that sort of Creature of the Black Lagoon type vibe, Hydra-like aesthetic. I like it. I would probably get rid of, like I said, the cheek flaps here, and then orient this more towards like a 2008 Fantoka Makuta type of mask, and I think you have something here going for. And 2008 obviously had that sort of demon slash cryptid kind of motif going on, right? You have Antraz, which is kind of a dragon-like character. You have Vampire, which is a vampire. You have Chirox, which is a bat, I guess. So yeah, I like it. I think it's interesting. And obviously you'd probably lean into the green. What the fuck? Anyway, I don't know what to say other than he just looks like he's a chipmunk, which I kind of adore, but I don't like this. Aspects that are salvageable, sure. To you guys, it's yellow. To me, it's tan. it also reminds me of the old is it 90s or early 2000s? I can't remember. The old Life on Mars, I think aliens had that kind of this head shape here. So it reminds me a little bit of that as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't like where this is going anymore, guys. So this one reminds me, first of all, Last Mask. I don't really care for it too much, but there are aspects of it I like. This one reminds me a little bit of sort of a Jason type of mask here, right? So we're still sort of leaning into that creature, little black look. Obviously not the same, but horror, side of things, right? But it also has maybe a hockey mask, sport mask type of aesthetic to it. It's interesting. It's very boring. I don't really care for it that much, but I think you could again modify this one further to make it into something more exciting. Yeah, let's move on. I'm sorry for anybody that has that fear of like holes, whatever that's called. I feel like I'm gonna have to visit a therapist after this. This feels like Lego saw the Akaku Nu and was like that, but more. The worst timeline. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole. So yeah, this one here. It's got a little bit of the Transformers squared off kind of logo thing going. There's just not much about this one to really care about, honestly. It's interesting, and I think that having a squared mask could be kind of cool. Not here. No. Okay. Okay, aspects of this I like. I don't like the unnecessary asymmetry. I don't really care for the vertical hold. It's something we'd seen a lot of back in the early 2000s. And honestly, if you left that there and mirrored it, this would feel like a pretty good mix between the Komau from 2001 and the Komau from 2004. Rather, I would lean in a different direction and maybe go for more of these horizontal holes over the top of the eyes. Something we really didn't see too much in 2001. And also these open sides. I really like that as well. Again, something we didn't see in 2001 that I'm aware of. Not fully open anyway. Then you also have the little cheek slits here, which are fine. The mouth looks weird, so obviously reshape. Yeah, there are aspects of this that I would save. I think it's all right. Also, I didn't even just notice, but like it's just got this protrusion down from the bottom. Get rid of that. What is this? So this reminds me. First of all, it's got kind of a Homer Simpson shaped head, which I think is hilarious. But also. Reminds me a little bit of a kind of a scuba suit, right? An early, I don't know what year those were designed, but those like real deep sea sort of scuba diving suits, with the big lens. Obviously, it doesn't have that, but it has that sort of like pleated shape to it. I can see the top here is rounded, but the AI kind of struggle with it. I actually prefer that sort of bumpy texture, so I'd probably do something like that all the way up to the top, or even all the way across it. The rest of it's pretty okay. Obviously, touch it up. It looks goofy, but not bad. I don't know how I feel about this one. Obviously heavy in the geometric shapes. I think it's interesting what they're trying to do with these cheek holes here. Maybe having like a couple of stippling marks or something. What do I make a play stippling reference? Outside of that, though, it's all right. I don't care for the nose. I would squish it down. I don't even think the AI knows where its eyes are, so squish it down a little bit, lower the eyes, but otherwise, yeah, it's fine. I don't even like looking at this one. This is uncomfortable. Right off the bat, this reminds me a little bit of Tahumata's mask, obviously, a little bit of the Akaku as well, with this sort of rounded shape at the bottom, even these sort of cheek lines. And I know that the Akaku doesn't have a triangular mouth, but it has sort of a triangular mouth cluster with the 3 circles, right? I don't care anything for that, though. Honestly, you could get away with just doing a round head here, or maybe doing like a sort of like wave pattern would be kind of interesting up the top. Okay, this kind of has a similar thing going on to that orangish mask we looked at a minute ago, where it has those vertical lines over the top of the eyes, and I do really like that. There's something about that I think is good. 3 holes is also nice. It's somewhat egg-shaped, but I think that's okay. That's very similar to the Rao as well, but not strictly, it doesn't have to be exclusive, right? And cheek holes here, very similar to the Miru, although I guess the AI doesn't know that the head is behind that. Or if you want to think of it, I guess you could think of it as being angled differently, so the light's reflecting off it right now, which is an interesting aesthetic. I think the nose here is a little too small, but I do like the idea of a nose being in here. I think we move on. That's pretty much it. I don't like that one. All right, so no eyes, first of all. Definitely aspects of it I like. I don't really care for these cheek protrusions here. It's too Kakama, right? If you got rid of those though and just kind of followed this line down, it's actually not bad. It does feel a little legendary, which I don't really care for masks to feel that specific, right? Unless it makes sense for the story. But if you cut away some eye holes in here, got rid of that, and maybe reduce this a little bit, or even just, I think these are fine. That's probably the thing that gives it that sort of legendary kind of feel, though. I think it's okay. It's okay. See, so this one reminds me of, what is it? Nuju's mask from the movie, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, there are aspects of this one I like as well. I don't think we need to dwell on it too much. The ribbed cheeks is kind of cool, actually. Again, I'd reduce these sides a little bit, just kind of push them in a little more. I don't mind the little ear kind of things coming off the side. And this area is clearly a reflection or maybe the suggestion of holes. But honestly, maybe changing that to like a matte texture in those areas would be kind of neat to accentuate it, but not just make it a feature, right? Anyway, I like the rest of it. That's weird. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But anyway, what is this, like a Darth Vader sort of? Okay. I feel like I'm not even phased anymore. Oh, it's like slightly brown too. I didn't even notice. I thought it was black. Okay. So it has 3 eyes, as you do, normal. If I was gonna focus on the eyes of this one, I'd want the bottom holes to be the eyes. The top just looks a little weird. It's a weird shape, but I don't hate it by any means. I just think I would come down from the top here and honestly get rid of this whole area here. So just kind of coming down and lining up with this jawline sort of to this point, somewhere around there. I think then you have something interesting. I feel so bad for Kopaka. Oh my guy. Oh, look at it. He's even got the little like a underbite thing. Oh, and he's like super green on camera too. That's funny. To me, it's like weirdly whitish spring green yellow. Yeah, but he's got like a little bit of an underbite thing going on, which makes him look like an old grandpa, which is hilarious. Again, very clearly some How Nuva vibes. We're just gonna move on to the next one. And all right. That's not bad. I like that one. Actually, that's probably the best I think we've seen so far. It's very clearly a mix between a how and a Rao right off the bat, but it's different enough from both. I think. I don't know that I would call it by a different name, but maybe you could think of it as a regional change from the 2 masks. So like this one. So I'm glad we get to end on a high note. That is the last mask. So if you guys did enjoy this video, just know I give this one a pass. And you want to see more things like this, let me know in the comments. The link for this will be in the description for you guys to check out as well. And of course, as always, Instagram, Discord, and Patreon, if you want to support the channel, are all in the description below. And yeah, just make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.